Hi, this is James Melendez, James the wine guy here at Saké One, and it shows the family, the Murai family, and so we're here at the facility, which is really a cool thing to experience. So I'm going to write everything up that I experience here. So we're looking at the process here, process point, and so you can see the steeping, steaming, really cool diagram here. And so hopefully we're going to see much more of what happens here: rice, water, yeast, and koji. For more wine reviews, sake reviews, please go to jamesthewineguy.com. Please subscribe to my videos on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo, Google+, Pinterest. Salud.
We have our own mill here. So, how do you make ginjo grade sake? Ginjo means we've taken that rice grain and we've milled away, polished away, literally 40% of the grain, leaving only the middle 60% behind. The outer layers of the grain of rice have higher levels of fats and proteins in them. You could just brew the rice without any milling, but it would be a little more rustic tasting. It wouldn't have the elegance and the refinement you get as you mill away those outer levels. Kind of like peeling back the layers of an onion. There's what we call a starch pocket in the center of the rice grain, and that is key to making sake. The more concentrated that starch is in the middle, the better sake you can make. So I'm going to take you into the mill room, show you where we mill. I want to talk out here because it's a little bit loud in there when the mill is going, but basically it's a big machine that has a stone, and the rice grains go by the stone, and in about a 13-14 hour process, it slowly polishes away the outer levels, outer grains, so we get that nice little pearl on the inside. And then we'll take it from there. So,
what's the percentage punch?
Now, two of those bags fit into the mill. You can see the window going up the side. You can see the rice slowly coming down where it hits the stone in here. I mentioned it's about a 13-14 hour process. It's all computerized. This will tell us how far along the process is. It's constantly weighing the rice as it passes through, and it's deducting what is essentially flour. And the rice flour gets sucked off, and we put it back into a bag and we sell it to a pig farmer. But right now, this is at 70%. So if you want to look, and actually the rice is warm in its process, but the grains are getting smaller. I mean, most of you have seen, rice right out of the bag. So this is at 70%. So another 10% of each grain will be taken away. Then we're done and we're ready to store it, which is what's happening in these tanks behind you, because the process of milling generates heat. The reason it takes so long for us to mill it down is if you did it really fast, a lot of heat, the grains would crack. And then you're trying to mill a bunch of cracked grains. You're not preserving that little starch core. So we put it in these tanks, let it cool down for about a week. Also picks up some of the humidity from the air that is lost during the milling. So remember this. And then, of course, you all know what steamed rice looks like. So you've got milled rice, we have steamed rice, and then we're going to talk about koji rice. Very important thing to remember, koji. And actually in Japan, most of the sake breweries there don't mill their own rice. They buy it milled to their specs. But we wanted to have that control ourselves, so it's an extra level of commitment, but we like knowing we can mill. We mill just about 5-6 days a week, because again, about 14 hours to do 4,000 pounds, and it takes about 10,000 pounds for one batch. So we get upstairs, you'll see 12,000 liter batch is about 4,000 gallons.
A lot of varieties that's trained by
Yes, the cow rows that we use is the question was different size grains of rice. There's small grain, medium, and large grain. We use predominantly medium grain, some small grain. California grows most of the medium grain rice in the U.S. Arkansas grows the larger grain, primarily used for food products, Rice Krispies, anything with rice in it. A little warm in here. Actual steaming. When we bring the rice over here, the first thing we do is there can be small amounts of rice flour still stuck to some of the grains. We want to remove the flour. So basically the rice comes over into this tank and then we cycle it through these small tubs, basically just giving it a rinse. Kind of like throwing your rice into a colander in your sink, rinsing it off, same idea. Then the key step after that is what takes place up in this cone-shaped tank. We fill it up with rice, we add a prescribed amount of water, prescribed temperature, time it for an exact amount of minutes. I can't remember exactly what it is, 10, 12 minutes. And then we drain the water off because just before we steam, the ideal rice for steaming is where the grain of rice, the moisture is actually on the inside of the grain, the outside is dry. So the rice actually drains overnight before we steam the following morning. The rice then goes up this green conveyor, and this large bin up here in the corner is actually a very large specialized rice steamer. You can see the hood up above. So basically we layer the rice in, and then we cover it up with a cloth, and then the steam comes up through the bottom. You're actually steaming the rice by injecting steam through the bottom. It takes about 45 minutes, and then you've got steamed rice. You can eat it. What we do is then it goes, that bin tips on an axis, and one of our brewers starts to pull the rice out of the steamer, and it goes down across a conveyor that has cool air blowing, because we're cooling the rice down. We want to take it from 130, 140 degrees down to about 100 degrees. And as soon as we get down to 100 degrees, that's where we introduce the koji mold. It's a mold spore that was specially kind of formulated to basically when you've got a grain of rice with that starch on the inside, and you put this mold spore onto that grain and put it in a warm, humid area, the spore will actually go, I'm looking for starch, and it will go into the cooked grain of rice, and the enzymes will actually convert the starch inside that grain of rice to sugar. No different than making beer. You can't just use barley, you have to malt the barley. Same thing here, we have to take rice and convert it to koji rice, because the koji is what converts that sugar to starch. So we're doing that in a very controlled environment, and that becomes the key ingredient when we start brewing. So once we've sprayed, and we've got a device that just literally sprays the spores onto the cooked rice, steamed rice, it comes across a conveyor, and the conveyor takes the rice, it's kind of blocked off here, but there's a small door in the back of the koji room where we bring the rice in. So I'm going to now take you over here, and you can actually look into the koji room. I'm not certain if we have koji. 48 hours for the koji spore to completely convert all that starch to sugar.
Sorry, how long?
48 hours. Change dramatically.
It's so pretty. Looks like coral.
So now, notice how the grains are all kind of puffed and have that kind of a chalky coating to it? It actually has kind of a sweet, tangy taste. If you want to taste it. So we basically remove the, this is our fermentation floor.
Oh.
skipped over the yeast propagation because it's a little bit warm over there, but basically we get all our yeast from Japan. There's special yeast strains specifically designed for sake brewing, because when we brew sake, I mentioned it earlier, we actually brew up to about 19% alcohol. A lot of yeasts that are used for wine production or beer production, they can't tolerate the high alcohol levels. So these are specially designed for sake brewing. The sake brewing process, once we get in the tank, it more or less resembles white wine fermentation. If you're making, say, a stainless steel Chardonnay, Pinot Gris, Riesling, where you're fermenting at a cool temperature. That's why once we start getting into the world of sake, we keep it cool. Fermentation tanks are kept cool, about 52 degrees. We go to our aging tank room, it's about 60 degrees in there, and we start controlling the temperature. Sake, unlike wine, is once we make it and bottle it, it's meant to be consumed really within 12 to 18 months. It's not the kind of product where I love this sake, I'm going to lay it down, come back to it in 2 years. Not that it'll go bad, it's just like fresh fruity white wines that after time start to lose some of that fruity quality and take on earthiness or other, just become less fruit driven. So with sake, you keep it cold, you can extend the length of the life of the sake. But generally, I tell people I'm in the consumption promotion business, so buy it, take it home, drink it. We do.
Question.
Once it's served, depending upon which type of sake, there are sakes, there are sparkling sakes in the marketplace that are 5% alcohol,
Okay.
all the way up to ginshu, undiluted sakes from Japan that are 20 to 22% alcohol.
But not as high as, for example, pastis or Pernod. You know, a pastis or Pernod, which is an aperitif from France, that's
Right.
41% alcohol.
No, yeah, no.
Yeah, so
Yes.
sake's not this high alcohol. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was curious about. the
Exactly.
content.
Have you served them chili?
We serve all our sake chill. In Japan, actually, because of the length of time they've been drinking sake, and they have such variations in seasonality. Very cold in the winter, very hot and humid in the summer. They actually have 6 different temperature grades that they serve their sake at, from very, very hot down to about skin temperature to chill, depending upon the season and the type of sake. We're just trying to educate Americans to that it's not all hot, drink out of little cups. You can put it in a wine glass, drink it like you would a nice white wine. Complements a wide range of foods that we have here in America, and man, I'm living proof because I was a wine guy that now drinks mostly sake. And, very versatile. Chicken, even like spaghetti, pasta. I think maybe it has something to do with the fact that it's made from rice. We eat rice on our plate. There's just some natural affinity there that I can't really explain.
One more question. Any good health benefits to drinking a sake?
Well, of course, in the United States, we can't proclaim that there's any health benefits. TTB would be a big hand slap on that. They've actually done studies in Japan where they took people, they sat them down, they had them drink, I don't know, a glass of sake, and they measured the moisture level in their skin before and after, and the moisture level in their skin went up after they consumed sake.
Yay!
I'm just trying to find a good argument.
But it's interesting because the number of breweries I've now visited in Japan, if you look at the brewers who have their hands in the rice all the time, it's like they've got like the youthfulest looking hands you've ever seen. And some of these brewmasters like 60, 75 years old. It's pretty amazing. All I can say generally in terms of a health perspective and maybe a consumption perspective is it's a very, very pure beverage because it's so simple. There's no glutens, no sulfites, no tannins. So when you drink it, you're drinking a very pure version of alcohol, and consequently the next morning you don't feel quite so bad if you drank a little too much. Not to say some people say it doesn't give you a hangover. I don't believe that.
Speaking from experience,
Once or twice. Anyway, the process of fermentation, small tanks over here, these are called motos. So it's kind of like when you're making bread. We start this, put it in this small tank. I don't think we're getting together right now. Just water. We put the koji rice, water, yeast, and some more steamed rice in there. After about 3-4 days, the yeast has actually really started replicating itself. It's like I said, getting a start, getting it ready. We're taking a small amount and then transfer it to the large tank. So these are about you look down the side, these are about 4,000 gallon tanks. In the process of fermenting, we are building the fermentation over about a 3-week period, meaning once we add the moto, we add more water, more steamed rice, more koji rice, towards about a third full. About 50, 52 degree fermentation. After about a week, all that sugar that's in the rice will be converted to alcohol. So maybe you're at 6%. Then we add another addition of water and rice for a second week, and then we do that a third time. So 3 steps. It's called building the moromi. And this tank, I think, actually this tank is being pressed off. As you can see where the foam was on the side. And here's a tank that's probably in 1 or 2 days, or first or second stage. So what you see is the foam on the top. It's sort of like porridge at this point. With the foam on the top. I'm looking for a tank that's like all the way filled. Let's see if this guy. Here we go. So if you come over here, you can actually kind of, don't stick your nose way in there, but you can kind of breathe.
So you said you pasteurized it a second time?
Yes. Yeah, 2 times.
So what is it doing? Is there any yeast living still here?
What happens is, the first time we pasteurize, we're denaturing the protein that is in the sake. No different than when you cook an egg, how instantly the white